Hey, hotshots, Jess with Emotional Fire Academy today to ruffle some feathers and talk about boundaries are bullshit. Yes, and what to try instead. Subscribe to my channel if you are a highly sensitive person looking to uplevel your life, and because that is exactly what this channel provides, tools, tips, and tricks to do exactly that. And I am Jess. I am your driver operator on this journey. I am a master NLP practitioner and a former firefighter, and I give you stuff every week for free about how to improve your experience of life, how to expand your consciousness, reframe things, see them differently, make new neuronal connections, and just feel better and really thrive. Move it from surviving to thriving. So, before I jump into today's content, I am having a 30% off sale on my one-on-one coaching right now. If my videos really resonate with you and you understand them on a deep level, that means you are ready to become fireproof. And I have a 3-month one-on-one coaching program called Flammable to Fireproof. I would be happy to work with you, take you through that, and get you to the point of feeling incredible every day and amazing every day and resilient and able to handle the world, and again, moving from just surviving into a thriving mode permanently. So if that interests you, check out my website, emotionalfireacademy.com. Go ahead and grab one of the free consults and let's talk. All right, so let's ruffle some feathers, shall we? Yeah, because this is a pervasive topic in in therapy and mindset work, is to set boundaries. But I'm saying today, boundaries are bullshit, and here's why. So boundaries are always a symptom of fear. You're setting up a boundary because you're afraid something is going to happen. And what is fear? There are other acronyms for fear. I came up with this one this morning, focusing exclusively on an awful reality. So let's zoom out a little bit. When you're dealing with a situation and you feel like you have to set a boundary, you have a fear response of, oh my God, worst case scenario, I need to do something to protect myself, so I'm going to establish this boundary. When really, the available options to you of response are infinite. If you haven't seen my video, reacting versus responding, go ahead and check that out now. I'll put the link above. It goes a little more in depth into this. But really, you are a creative being. Your choices of response are infinite. But instead, we're having this automatic story that comes up that says, oh my God, I don't have enough time, or I need to say no to this person, or I need to establish a boundary. And so the boundary is always a symptom of the fear. So in that fear, then we decide to create a conditional program, right? If I say no, then I will be safe. If I say no, then I will have more time. So you're creating a conditional program that then is going to start running in your consciousness. And when you do that, then that program, if you habitually start practicing it, if you set one boundary, then you're going to set another boundary with another person, because you're like, again, that fear is going to grow. Like, my time is limited. My who I am is defined by how I act in this situation, right? This conditional program is going to start to be reinforced, and it's going to start to run. And then we're going to have to put energy into defending that program and living up to that program. And that is a drain of our energy, when really we're denying ourselves the creative potential to respond and actually expand in this situation. And that's what we want to do instead. So, because a boundary, we're going to get into power versus force here. So setting a boundary is forcing something. That conditional program, right, it's based in fear. Fear is a wobbly emotion. Fear, when we actually look at our available options, we realize fear was kind of almost an illusion. There's nothing solid to it. So the boundary using force, that's kind of, forcing something has the energy of It's hollow, it's empty, and that's why we have to put so much energy behind it, because we're trying to make it happen. We're trying to do something when there is not the full body experience behind it that would reinforce it instead. So forcing feels like, you're putting a lot of energy, you're forcing, there's an emptiness, there's a hollowness, and that's why there's so much energy being spent on maintaining the solidity. And whereas with power, showing up in a powerful way, power has the energy contained within it that reinforces it naturally. So showing up in a powerful way has a strength and a solidity behind it that is different from force. Power is more expansive. Power is like, it moves on its own. A boundary is very static. It feels very static. It's fixed, it's static. It then needs to be defended. It doesn't fluctuate, right? A boundary is more of a human creation. Nature doesn't really have boundaries like humans do. Nature has edges of being. I like to talk about the edge of being, right? The edge between the sea and the land. And the difference between that is if you cross that edge, the edge of being between the sea and the land, you as the entity crossing that edge need to be able to withstand the power that you're then entering into. And so if you can, bear with me here, if you can conceptualize this, it's going to make a lot of sense as to what I'm saying. So you need to be, if you decide to go into the ocean, into the sea, you have to be able to go with that power, right? You have to be able to either breathe underwater, withstand the waves, deal with the creatures in the water, right? The same thing if you're a sea creature then coming up on land. You have to be able to breathe oxygen, you have to be able to crawl and move about. So that is almost that edge of being. There's a power in the two states, right? The state of land and the state of water. That then when you as an entity traversing that boundary, that edge, have to then, you gotta be able to play in that power. And so that's kind of how we want to show up then. Instead of setting a boundary that's conditional, that we have to enforce, that's very small and limits us and keeps us in this tiny, our consciousness in this little box, like if I protect my box, I'm going to be just fine, I'm going to be safe, I'm going to have enough time. If we expand our edge of being, if we show up in a way that is opposite of what we're fearing, we're stepping into that power. Where then whatever we perceive as trying to traverse our boundary then has to play on our terms. And we act from a place of power where we're going to make decisions, different decisions than we would if we were standing behind a boundary. We're going to make different decisions that will reinforce then our own power. So what does this actually look like? So we want to expand our power. Instead of setting a boundary, we're going to expand our power. So I have 3 steps for you on how to do this exactly. So identify your limiting story. Identify the conditional program that you're setting up. So for instance, if I say no to hanging out with this person, then I am safe. Let's say you don't feel safe with a certain individual. So what am I fearing? Ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid of losing? What am I trying to protect? What am I afraid of? What is the exclusively awful reality I am focusing on? And pinpoint it. Sit there and think about this and pinpoint it. And then flip it. Flip that reality. Okay, so in our example, if I say no to this person, I will be safe because this person doesn't make me feel safe. So how we're going to flip that is, how are we going to assume power? I am safe. I'm always safe. I am always safe. It doesn't matter what is happening outside of me. I'm safe. I am safe. And can you feel the difference in that? Stepping into the power of I am always safe. I am always safe. Always. Always. It doesn't matter what is coming at me, what I perceive to be coming at me, I am always safe. And when you inhabit that, you might say, now I hear your little brains are, well, not that they're little. I hear the hamster wheels turning like, well, what if someone's coming at me with a gun? Okay, well, if you're standing in that energy of I am always safe, you're going to be inspired in that moment to act, or you're going to notice something that will enforce your own safety. So you're going to do something to enforce your own safety in that moment. So you'll either fight back, or you'll be inspired to be like, hey, what's going on, man or woman that's coming at me? Like, your energy is going to be completely different when you show up in that situation. That is then, again, they're going to have to play in your world, because you are always safe. You're always safe. Always. So when you inhabit that power, that's a very extreme example. 99% of the examples in your life when you're trying to set a boundary with someone or something are much more mundane. But that is exactly the energy that does diffuse situations like that. That's exactly the energy of like, I'm safe. You can try to hurt me, but I'm safe. And so when we flip that energy and stand in that power, then they got to play in our world. That type of showing up in that way, that's way more powerful than setting a boundary. It's like, but then we have to put a lot of energy behind, and maybe we might not have enough energy to defend that boundary. So the third step then is to really, in mind, body, and soul, inhabit that power. Like, you gotta sell yourself on that, and you have to believe it. You have to completely believe it in your body, your mind, your soul. Your language has to reflect that in not only your internal thoughts, but what you're giving to the world. And so in inhabiting that type of power of I'm always safe, I always have enough time. Always. I'm timeless. Check out the time management video. That's a great, goes more in depth about managing your time and feeling like you have enough time. I am timeless. I have time for everything that I want to do. Everything. Every little thing I have time for. So whatever you're fearing, flip it, figure out what you're fearing, flip it, and then inhabit the power that is in believing that you are that thing, that you have that you are that, because that's when you expand. Boundaries are bullshit because they're an opportunity for you to expand who you are. Not to contract, but to expand, to step into your creative power, where then you start to show up in the world, right? You're here to play. You are here to play and create and show up and do amazing stuff and overcome all of these maladaptive programs that were set up that you can clean them out, and this is one of the ways we start doing them. So what do you think? Leave a comment below. I know, I'm sure, and I'm excited to hear from those of you who might think this is preposterous. Let me know what you think. I'd love to interact with you and hear what you have to say. And if this resonates and you want to learn more about how to be this person and step into this power, reach out to me. I would love to work with you. Otherwise, have an awesome day. And go out there and claim your power, friends. All right. Bye.